The great thing about the Oscars is you don't know who's going to win.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as I think I've said this before about the nomination process, you know, we are nominating films for very different reasons than you go see them. Mm-hmm. You know, if I'm a sound person, I'm going to listen for the sound to see if it's clear, if it's doing all the things it's supposed to do. Most people say, well, you guys never vote for the movies we vote for. We're voting for different things. That's why. Mm-hmm. It's not that we're ignoring it or we're not hip enough to know what y'all are seeing. Mm-hmm. It is, we are looking in our very special groups, you know, actors, directors, sound people, hair and makeup. We're looking at the best for that year in our craft, and that's what we're judging to nominate. So that's how that works. So keep an eye on it. Yeah. Now, this weekend, social media, honey, attacked Kentucky private school kids for this confrontation with the Native American Vietnam veteran when different rallies converged in D.C. Here's the first clip that went viral. Take a look. So the school kids were blamed for being the aggressors. But then the extended footage was released that showed a group of black Israelites mocking the kids and the Native American. Take a look.
We are here to tell you what you have to do. You have to come away from the Lord. You have to come away from your religions, philosophies, and doctrines and start worshiping the true and living power, which his name is Yahweh. That's who's the Most High God.
That's right.
Pompous bastards over there wearing Make America Great.
That's right.
Again.
Little Billy.
Little
corny-ass Billy in there.
Why are you not angry at that?
So many people admitted they made snap judgments before these other facts came in. But is it that we just instantly say that's what it is based on what we see in that moment and then have to walk stuff back when it turns out we're wrong? Why is that? Do we keep making the same mistake?
Because we're desperate to get Trump out of office. That's why.
Not everybody, though.
But what does that have to do?
I think that's the reason. I think the press jumps the gun a lot because we have so much circumstantial evidence against this guy that we basically are hoping that, you know, Cohen's got the goods and what have you. And so it's wishful thinking.
Right, but let's talk about the kids in this particular
all right.
confrontation, since that's the question at hand.
You also have Trump supporters that also jump to judgment, too. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say it's all to get Trump out of office. I think a collective, we as a society jump to judgment today, and you believe whatever you want to believe. If you see that video and it helps the narrative that you believe in, then I think we're quick to jump on that. The worst part of this whole thing was that, because this was MLK weekend, and it was, of course, honoring Martin Luther King, and those were the very steps where this happened, where he gave the I Have a Dream speech back in 1963. I can't imagine what he would say today if he watched all of that play out the way it did on Friday. It would be horrified. How many years later, though, are we? And we're still here, and we're still experiencing hate from every walks of life. I still think there's so much more good, by the way, in this country than bad, but watching that over the weekend was just, it was really sad.
A little evil goes a long way, don't you think?
Too far, yeah.
We don't have much time.
I know.
You know, I watched hours of the controversy, and, you know, as a practicing Catholic, I just kept on coming back to the same point. Where were the chaperones? Where were the adults? I thought it was such a teachable moment for everyone there. These were kids. These were 16-year-old kids. And I kept on thinking, you know, you've got kids coming from another place, from Kentucky. They don't know D.C. You've got the black Israelites really taunting them. They should have been taught, you know, what would Jesus do? That's what Catholics are taught. And they were engaging the people that were being aggressive to them. A chaperone should have said to them, don't engage, you move along. And instead, their chaperones were told them to start this chant. And the kids started this chant. One kid ripped off his shirt and, was chanting.
And weren't they
you've
there
got-
for a pro-life
They were there for a
Then why did they need those
movement.
hats on their
Well,
head?
and that's the other thing, Catholic churches, you get this exemption, this tax exemption, because you're not supposed to be
That's right.
political. And they had these political, these hats on and these outfits. Again, where were the adults advising them that they can't wear that? And then again, you've got this Good Samaritan that's trying to separate them. And again, you have a 16-year-old. He was smirking. He says he was silently praying. I don't know. When I pray, I don't smirk. But the adults weren't there, telling him, move out of the way. Don't engage this Good Samaritan. And again, afterwards, he gets a PR firm that sends this note. And so instead of teaching him as an adult, maybe take some responsibility, there's still no teachable moment. So where are the adults in this?
Okay.
Teaching,
All right.
teaching,
All right.
teaching. No one is there. No one is there. I was just disgusted by the entire thing.
Anything?
You know what? We don't have any time left, and I actually think that this topic is so nuanced. If you want to give me more time in the next segment, I'm happy to talk about it, but I think that this is a very nuanced discussion, and there's a lot of elements to it, and everyone's hurting right now. I was really, really screwed up about this over the weekend. Abby knows I was texting her throughout it, and if we want to talk about it in the next segment, I'm happy to, but I'm not going to just give this a soundbite.
We'll be back.
Later, singled out. Why one New York City restaurant is banning single women from eating at the bar alone, but still allows dudes to dine bar side. Okay, so there's a big election coming, and the question on everyone's mind is...
Are you a contender in 2020? You're going to run for president.
Are you going to run for president?
You're going to run for president.
Well, look,
With so much on the line, the newsmakers come here because...
This is the best place to do it.
in this epic year ahead,
Anybody who wants to make it to the next level in politics has to come on this show.
because this is the place to be heard.
If you're a Republican and you want to make news, come on this show.
It's We're the View on AB's Gina Rodriguez on Kickin' Big Screen Butt. And it's a house party on View Your Deal.
So welcome back. Megan, did you wanna?
Yeah, I just want to say that over the weekend, I was one of those people that instantly react on Twitter. And my first and foremost lesson of all this is wait 24 hours when something's going viral before I respond to it. When I saw it, I'm from Arizona. There are 22 Native American tribes in Arizona. My father was the longest serving member on the Senate Committee of Indian Affairs. I grew up with a deep respect for Native Americans for a lot of different reasons. And I think that happens when you live in a place where you're around them a lot. When I saw it, and then I found out that Nathan Phillips, who's the Native American man, was a veteran, it was like my worst nightmare come to life. And it looked like the children, the high schoolers, were being very aggressive with him. And I immediately said this should be called out. Bigotry is bigotry is bigotry. I was at a funeral. I left the funeral. The next morning, my friend Robbie Swaby, who works for Reason Magazine, put out a piece saying the media got this wrong. There are other angles to it. And I immediately felt horrible that I had been part of demonizing the children as well, or the 16-year-olds. Now, there's a lot of things in this that I don't agree with. I don't think anyone should be doing the chop, or when a Native American is banging their drum, I don't think you should be singing along if you're not a Native American in that way. That would be my comfort level, just out of respect. Yeah. These are kids. I hope their lives aren't ruined over this. And then I felt really guilty that I had somehow been a part of ruining Nick Sandmann, which is his name's life in one way or another. And I think it just makes everybody look bad. It is like a powder keg example of how divided we are. And I don't, at this point, know if there's coming back from how divided we are. And it just made me depressed literally all weekend. Ask Abby.
Well, maybe this will bolster you a little bit, because this BuzzFeed report, just hours after BuzzFeed posted an article claiming attorney Michael Cohen was directed by you-know-who to lie to Congress under oath, Mueller's team issued a statement that, quote, the characterization of documents and testimony obtained regarding Cohen's testimony are not accurate. Now, BuzzFeed says they're still standing by their story. But, we are still in this place because, you know, Mueller doesn't really talk much.
No.
He doesn't really say much.
That was a big
so
deal.
this is maybe the third time, but it gives me some comfort that he doesn't want to take this on a BS premise. It's like, I'll give you the facts when I'm ready to release them. I don't want anybody putting out BS, and that makes me feel better.
Well, it also should make the Trump people feel better that this so-called witch hunt is not happening. And maybe get off of Mueller's back about creating a witch hunt when Mueller has now shown you that he's fair and balanced,
He's
unlike
trying to be.
Trump cheerleaders.
And I think he did that
And
intentionally.
also, why say accurate rather than truthful? It's interesting
And that's,
wording.
he didn't say the story was false.
Right.
He said it was inaccurate.
Right.
And I think there's a big distinction between the two. And what I really enjoyed about his statement was he wants to protect the integrity of that investigation.
Yeah.
He wants to make sure that when that report comes out that everyone is comfortable with its fairness, with its integrity. And I think that's extremely important. That is why you don't see the leaks coming out. And that's why I think he made the
But can
statement.
I just say quickly,
The
this
entire
was
media did the story of him being impeached on
This
Friday.
was
because
wall
of
to
this
wall on
report.
Friday. We covered this too, and our show's different because we can all give our opinions. And I said that day that I'm going to wait till the Mueller report. Let me just say one thing though about this: the media, they don't understand, but they are actually going to help Trump get reelected. If these are the stories they're putting out, 2 unnamed sources, and everyone runs with this, this is the greatest gift that the Trump administration could ask for. I think the media's got to be very careful
We'll
because
see
that
in
is
a couple
all
of
that
weeks.
is
In 2
reporters
weeks,
want.
Michael Cohen is going to be testifying. Let's see what he has to say before we say that the media is helping.
But I
And
will
that's in
say that when
February.
we have, I said this verbatim on Friday, when there's a sparkly object that the media is always bouncing at because it's the narrative you want and not actually the narrative that we exist in. And I will say, I just conceded I was a part of it with the Native American Covington story on Twitter, but we all have to do a better job, and I'm not a journalist. And when you're writing a story that says that basically, on Friday, if you believe the media, Trump's getting impeached and it's done now. And now we're coming in here on Tuesday, excuse me, and it's not, where's my head?
Not yet.
And
Not
it's
yet.
different.
Well,
It
you know
helps
what?
Trump.
It just goes to show you that fallible people can write fallible stories. Fallible politicians can tell fallible stories as well. None of us is perfect. Sometimes people get it wrong. And so don't get it twisted. Look at yourself, say, have I ever gotten it wrong? And then proceed forward. We'll be right back. Megan, tell us about the honor you all received from the...
Well, my father received
Right.
it. My father received the Trumpet of Conscience honor from the annual King Salute to Greatness Awards Gala, and Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter, Dr. Bernice King, gave it to my mother, and it made me, and there's Dikembe Mutombo,
Your
who's
mom
just
looks
incredible
gorgeous.
as well, and, you know, it's a really beautiful moment. It's bittersweet. I wish my dad were here to
Yeah.
accept it, but it's
Yeah.
a beautiful honor, and I'm just, you know, it's just
Nice.
lovely of them to honor him.
Fabulous. Yes, yes. So I have to do a little talking because the other day we had the mayor on, and for some reason, people misunderstood my talking about the bike lane. So I'm going to sort of narrow it down. Bike lanes are fine. Bikers are fine. I said that. I think we could find better ways to put them around so that everybody can be safe, everybody can have all the safety they need, people who drive, people who bike, because sometimes I think that, you know, we don't have the, you know, there are barriers that go up and down in the city that we could put it in and people could get access to where they need to go in the event of an emergency or a holiday. And so I guess people thought I was saying that bike lanes were bad. I was not. I was saying I think we can do a better job putting them in the city and keeping everybody safe, the bikers, the drivers, everybody. So I'm very sorry if folks didn't know that that's what I was talking about. In any case, we're going, and we'll be back. Welcome back. A female executive says she was told she could not sit alone at the bar of an upscale New York City restaurant because of a crackdown on prostitutes trying to do their business there. But she says they didn't bother any of the men who were eating by themselves at the bar. Can't they be working too?
Yeah.
And don't-
Everybody's looking at me because this happened to me.
Yeah.
I was at a hotel in Bangkok swimming in a pool, and a gentleman, a really disgusting old man, came up to me and said how much for an hour, 2 hours. I don't remember.
How much did you say?
I flipped out and I said, who the hell do you think you're talking to? I'm a guest in this hotel. And my mother was out like on the lounge, and I was like, Mom! And it was all hell broke loose, and he regretted doing that, and my mom chased him. So I've been accused of being a prostitute as well. So no, I'm with you, lady. It happens.
A lot of money could be made.
Horrible. I mean, I think a lot of people like just sitting at the bar, especially if you're
I
eating
do.
by
I love
yourself,
it.
right? My friends always
It's like
tell me
therapeutic for me, yeah.
In fact, I own a restaurant, and I
You do? What's the name of it?
Alvin and Friends in New Rochelle.
Does it fit chicken?
It does. I actually installed little racks underneath, like little hanging racks underneath the bar so that women can hang their purses.
That's nice.
Right?
That's nice.
Because I love doing that.
I'm
and
so
just,
glad you cleaned that up.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, little things.
Little racks, yeah.
Little racks.
But
But
I'm a
I'm
good
so,
spot to hang, you know,
But it's-
I'm available. A little note.
but it's sort of, it's bad business for a bar to do that.
I don't know. I think
Well,
this
it's
restaurant
bad
can do whatever they
business.
want. I mean, clearly it's been an issue at this particular restaurant. I've seen it on the Upper East Side. Like my husband and I will be out to dinner. We're like, well, we know what's going on there. You just know. But that being said,
Oh, we think we know. We all think we
Then
know.
you see them leave together. You're like, okay.
Also, can we just
Oh,
legalize
yeah.
it? God, it's like, it
I'm not
happens
saying I'm
everywhere.
against it.
It's
I'm just saying it happens.
I mean, it's like this. I don't understand things that always happen everywhere that are illegal
I've
in
never
that
seen
way.
that.
Oh, I've
I don't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
I've seen what I believe. And again, I've been accused of it. So,
Oh, all right, me too. Kidding. But what I'm not kidding about is we want to send our very best to Fox News anchor Brett Baer, who's recovering from a terrible car accident. Get well soon. It was really quite bad, and
He's a
you
friend
know.
to the show. He's
Yeah.
a friend to the show.
That's the second, Prince Philip last week also was driving. He's 97, and he got into a car accident, but he's okay.
And then he got back in the car and is driving still.
Why is he driving? He's on the wrong side of the street as it is.
But Brett's family's out of the hospital and they're doing okay. It
Good.
could have been a lot worse. But
Yes, it could
Meg and
have.
I both love him too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there you have it. We'll be back. 19 looks like the year of Gina Rodriguez, because she is everywhere right now. She's kicking off the final season of her series, Jane the Virgin. She's the voice of Carmen Sandiego and a breed of new action heroes to the screen, Miss Bala. Take a look.
What's your deal?
I grew up in the States. I lived here for a few years. My father is American, and he owned a factory of maquiladora here.
Where's the maquiladora?
It's gone.
And your father?
Gone, too.
I can help you find your friend. But you have to do something for me first. You do that, and I'll help you find Susan. You mess around, and I'll kill you both.
Please welcome Gina Rodriguez.
Hello, ladies. Oh, let me just see how I can get in this chair real quick. No, and we're in. Okay.
Takes a minute. Takes a
Just a
minute.
second. Yeah.
So, so you were at the Golden Globes.
Golden Gloves.
But I like the Golden Gloves too. I'm a big boxing fan, so you're right in my alley. I like them both. I like them both.
We'll call them the Globes.
Yes.
So you were at the Globes recently.
I was.
And you had a Time's Up ribbon on the back of your dress with the little X. What is it? X2. What is
Time's
it?
up times two.
Times 2. So explain what that is, because I'm really bad at this.
So we're, you know, and I'm definitely not one of the, you know, the main circle of Time's Up. I would say that there's a lot of wonderful women that lead the Time's Up organization, so I'm not necessarily should be the representative of it in this moment, but I can say that the initiative for this year was just to double the number. Double the number. You hire one female, hire two. You hire one female director, hire two. You just the idea that like that's how that's how easy it is to help create change and push the needle
Right.
forward. So
Good idea.
from the first year to this year, the first year was, you know, very profound on the red carpet, the women all in black and really standing in solidarity with women everywhere in all industries and making sure that the Time's Up Legal Fund created resources for those that didn't have them to make sure that they were safe in spaces of work for sexual harassment and beyond. And that's you know, brings me a sense of pride to be a part of an organization that really has been contributing. But this year, the initiative was just to double the number. It seems very easy, but you'd be surprised when we had not very many female
Well, we do
directors
it here.
last year.
We hired one, and then they said hire 5 more.
There we go. You guys did it right, so let's do this forum. Yeah, hire 1, hire 5 more.
And you are doing it because your movie, Miss Bala, which I saw yesterday, it was terrific. It's breaking all kinds of barriers, right? It's directed by a woman.
Yeah.
Stars a female Puerto Rican.
And
95% of the cast and crew are Latino.
yep.
I mean, it's just incredible. Do you feel extra pressure, though, for it to be successful?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Which is petrifying because, you know, like you're, as an actor, I mean, as a producer, you have, I did not produce Miss Bala. So, but as a producer who has been able to produce her own content, that is a space where you really, I've realized you have the power to create change. Being an actor, you have between action and cut.
Yeah.
Like that is your job, that is what you bring, and that is what you do. So that being said, having just that sole responsibility on this project and having such a great sense of pride to have been able to make this with my community, and I say the entire Latinx community, there were Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Colombians, Venezuelans, Argentinians, Dominicans, like it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was
95%.
I mean, everywhere you turned, and it was a different dialect, and it was Spanish and English and some different slang and some different food and some different kind of like music. It was reggaeton or mariachi or, you know,
I would
cumbia or
have
merengue.
enjoyed that set.
So much, girl, so much. So, you know,
Well, tell us a little bit about the film.
So the movie is really a woman's journey from ordinary to extraordinary. You see a young girl that is going through a tumultuous, dangerous situation, and you watch how she uses everything that she's learned in her life to protect herself and the ones that she loves. And what's beautiful about that is because I know many women in my life that when action is called for, they take action, whether it be using their feminine charms or their intellect or their wit or their, you know, and so for me to be able to play a character that had such agency, that had such drive, that used everything about herself, everything I've seen my mother and my sisters do, you know, to see that in a film and reflected in action, which you don't often get in a very entertaining, just fun movie, because that's exactly what it is.
Like an action.
It's an action movie. It's an action movie. It's just to go and have a good time and have a roller coaster of emotions. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty special experience. I do feel a sense of pressure, which, like I said, when you're an actor, you only have so much control, but I feel this sense of pressure because we all know what happens when a project is successful, because the business says, oh, now that community is worthy of returning our funds.
Yeah.
And, you know, it is important.
another deal.
Get another deal.
Yeah.
And not for me, but for my other Latinas and my other Latinos who would like to be the leads in movies as well.
Yeah.
So that's where the pressure comes from, because
It's similar to what happened with Crazy Rich Asians.
100%.
too.
Yes.
Same idea. Yeah.
And what it does is it gives Constance Wu has now opened the door, and the entire movie, but I can assure you probably felt the way I did, was now somebody else is going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Now somebody else is going to be able and be in front of and behind the camera of Asian descent.
People need to go
because
see
of
this
that.
film.
Yes. Because of the blessing will be for others.
And how many young people in this country say, that person looks like me? They represent me. I want to get to the physical part because you're amazing. And you did most of the stunts yourself for this film.
Really?
I did.
Boxing
I did.
is your
It's
place
my world.
to go.
That's why she said Golden Gloves. And I was like, yep, you're right on it.
But your dad passed that down to you, didn't he?
He did. I mean, my father came out to Mexico and was training me like in between scenes in like
Wow.
100-degree heat. Oh, and then there's my homeboy Julian, one of the trainers at
Your fiance
Churchill.
too. I think we've got a photo of him.
My
you guys
fiance
have like
is
date night in the ring.
Super next level. No, he. Oh, wow, baby.
Wow.
So this was him training for his last fight. His discipline has taught me so much about my own body acceptance.
Joyous.
Listen,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm trying to get in there. He's a wow, and he's awesome. He's incredible.
He's letting himself go. It's terrible.
I know. Can you imagine how I feel? Yeah, but so I did some crazy training. I was able to do all my own stunts except for one stunt, and I had an amazing stunt woman, Monica, I love you, a fellow Latina who was on set with me, taking care of me, protecting me, teaching me everything, and then stepping in when I couldn't.
Wow.
So I had to say something because I knew you were coming on. I absolutely loved Annihilation, and I thought it was also like a badass movie about all women fighting to save the world, and this movie did not get enough love, and you're the best part of it. Sorry, Natalie Portman. I had to say that. I'm a big sci-fi fan.
I know you are.
I had to say that to you. Please watch that movie, too.
Thank
It's
you,
great.
Megan.
Anyway, you're beautiful on the cover of Cosmo now, but you talk about how it took you a long time to look at you. It's a long time to accept your body. Can you tell us why it took you a long time to accept your body?
I mean, am I the only one that it took a long time to accept the body, right? I feel like
I'm
that's
still
pretty,
trying to figure it out.
I'm still trying to fit, I got Hashimoto's disease when I was 19 years old, and I felt like that was like a huge curse because anybody that has hypothyroid, hyper or hypo, Hashimoto's is just a little bit further where your white blood cells start to attack your pituitary gland, and it makes it really hard to stay like this. Very hard for me to stay in like a comfortable space in my skin because of that. And I thought I got the like curse of an actress. I was like, okay, all you see in leads are like really thin women, and that's never gonna be my reality.
But it turned out to be your reality.
Because I learned.
Because you learned what to do.
I learned what to do.
You have to come back. It was never enough time.
I talk too much.
No, never
You're
enough.
perfect for here.
Thanks to Gina Rodriguez. Miss Bala is in theaters next Friday. We will be back, y'all.
We are making a house call on today's View Your Deal. We partner with vendors for half off hot new products for your home and kitchen while supplies last. So let's get shopping with lifestyle expert Britta Monahan.
How are you, baby?
Hello, baby.
All right, we're sprinkling some magic into the mundane, making it fun at home. First one is Wisp. This reimagines the broom and the dustpan. I'm going to show you up here to be faster, easier, and more efficient. Check this out. No more bending over, Sonny. You use the ball of your foot, you step on the handle of the pan to create a seal against the floor, and you do not miss a piece of dust or dirt at all. So you don't break your back. The broom features a 12-inch wide head, so every bit of dirt is collected. This is a genius invention.
Excellent.
And you also get this cool, which you love, a little mini Wisp.
Oh, that comes